All right, everybody. Thanks for joining in today. We have a special treat, even though it's the same person I've been doing the podcast with the entire time. We have Andrew Titus, who is the president of Fully Promoted. And I know Andrew's been on the show with us the first few times we've done it, and for those of you that have seen it. But since then, he's changed his role and gone into a new exciting venture. And so thanks for joining us, Andrew.
Thanks, Austin. Super excited, obviously, to be on the podcast again and to talk to you about some of the changes going on here.
Yeah, absolutely. And so one thing that we're super excited about you going into Fully Promoted now, and we've talked about it on the show, that we're going to have a lot of franchisors come in and get interviewed, presidents, CEOs, high-level executives. And Andrew is officially the first one that's getting interviewed to talk specifically about his brand, Fully Promoted. And so I'm going to ask Andrew a few questions about Fully Promoted. We're going to have a conversation on the brand and learn a little bit more today. So to start off, Andrew, though, tell us a little bit about yourself and your history and how you kind of landed in this position with Fully Promoted.
Sure. No, happy to do that, Austin. And, first off, everyone, again, Andrew Titus here. I work as the president of Fully Promoted. Really started as cleaning the building, frankly, at United Franchise Group. 12 years ago was my first job, really working summers, working in maintenance and doing different things throughout the building. But done a lot of different roles over the last couple of years. Spent some time, as you know, in our franchise development department, in the call center. Worked as a regional manager in Birmingham, Alabama. Moved to New York City and worked as our regional manager in New York City and Long Island for a year and a half, and was able to win the Rookie of the Year award there when I was working as a salesperson for the company, and then moved to Florida and was the regional vice president for 2 years, actually, and was able to win Most Valuable Player for the development team. And just really honored and super cool to receive that award. Then expanded my horizons to be able to manage the development team for the last year and worked as our EVP of development. And really what that entailed was managing who is coming into our franchise systems for multiple of the United Franchise Group franchise companies, and also seeing where they're going to be opening up their locations. And then about 3 months ago, Dad came into my office and said, you know what, we've been thinking about this and we're time to make a change here. And he offered the role to me, and I obviously jumped at it right away. And it was an awesome opportunity. And just, like I said, super excited to take on a brand that's in growth mode and growing right now and having some of its best years it's ever had, and just continuing that momentum.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And obviously, for those of you listening, this conversation's a little bit unique compared to some of the conversations we're going to have in the future. As you can tell, he used the word dad, referring to offering him the position. And so it's our family business. And so this is a brand that openly we both have known for our entire lives. And so going into these questions, I'll probably know the answers to some of them, but we want to hear them from the leader himself, Andrew. And so talk to us a little bit more about Fully Promoted and about what makes Fully Promoted special.
Sure.
And you could even talk about, some of those record-setting years that we're having with Fully Promoted recently and how it's on the uptrend.
No, totally, Austin. I'd love to. And for all the listeners, Fully Promoted, it's a full-service branding apparel and promotional products business. We have about 300 franchisees in around 6 countries worldwide now. We've been in business now for 23 years. Our first location opened up in 2000. In West Palm Beach, Florida, right around the corner, and is still open for business to this day with the same franchisee. We overall have gone through a tremendous amount of growth in the last 2 or 3 years now. Last year was our record for system-wide sales for our franchise system. System-wide sales were up 22% year over year for the company. And one thing that we have been lacking is franchise development and growing in terms of units. We've been around that 280, 300 mark for about 4 or 5 years now, frankly. And I'm excited to put my expertise in developing franchise systems and developing more franchisees and recruitment into our brand. And we're already starting to see some of those changes coming into place. Just in January, we added 3 new franchisees into the system. And this month in February, we're expected to add 6 new franchisees into the system. Wow. To give the listeners some context here, last year, in the entire year, we had 22 franchise deals. And I think we're going to do 9 in the first 2 months. Yeah. So very, very excited about that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And it's exciting to see the growth of Fully Promoted, given that it is a very established brand, because you usually don't see that in established brands like Fully Promoted. Now, tell us a little bit more about what makes Fully Promoted special from the consumer side. Like, what are the franchisees offering to customers, and what makes it different from some of the competitors in the industry? Yeah,
great question, Austin. It's a lot of you say, oh, well, I can just order this on Vistaprint, right, or Custom Ink, or some of those websites you go online. And we love it when customers say that, because that's really not who our target market is. We actually get a lot of customers who come to us who've gone to a Custom Ink or a Vistaprint, and they've realized the quality, the service, the customization of it isn't really up to par to what we offer. Our big differentiator is we're the local franchisee, the local business owner who can provide excellent customer service, can work as a big franchisee when they need to, being a part of one of the largest promotional products and branded apparel organizations in the country, but can also cater to small businesses and be the small local franchisee for them. And so our bread and butter is being that local franchisee, but in addition to it, being full service. So the market is very segmented. You have to go one place to get branded apparel, another place to get promotional products, and then another one to get printing materials. What we decide is we want to be the local business provider to do all of the full service marketing needs for any small business.
Awesome. Yeah, and I always looked at Fully Promoted as similar. It's that mom and pop type feel with Fully Promoted, but still able to get those big accounts, high level conversations.
100%. We've when the model first started out 23 years ago, we did a lot of BYOs, bring your own, right? And so we would have people bring in shirts to get embroidered or hats to get embroidered. We've kind of strayed away from that business now as we shift and recruit more higher level consumers. I was just talking to a franchisee the other day who did business for Space Force. And Boeing was another customer that he's worked with. So we're recruiting some high-level consumers versus doing the 20 happy anniversary shirts or embroidering someone's T-shirt for them for their own little design they're coming up with.
Yeah, I even heard a story about them one of the franchisees doing business with Amazon. One of the Amazon executives that wanted a bunch of stuff done. So it's really interesting to see what Fully Promoted is doing and to attract customers like that. When you know that there's, online sources to get these types of products and services, people are realizing that it's not that easy to get stuff like that customized online. And there's nothing to do with the product once it's incorrectly made.
Correct.
So that's the biggest piece.
There's a difference between things you can touch and feel and test before you order versus just going out on a whim and ordering 1,000 materials or something. The bigger companies who have big budgets and are spending lots of money, they want to make sure their product is good and that you're not giving something cheap and that it's done right. And so our localized franchisees, that really helps that.
Awesome. And so that being said, I know you talked a lot about some of these things that you would probably say to this question, but what is Fully Promoted focused on to stay at the top of the franchise industry in this space?
It's really about continuously getting better. And, when you stop growing a brand, you can really fall quickly if you don't grow. So we're putting a huge emphasis on growth. And it's never staying stagnant, right? We're constantly adding new franchisees now who are qualified people, not just anyone, but qualified people who are going to carry the brand the right way, but also keeping an eye out to some new cool products that may be out there, right? And seeing if there's anything we can add. We're talking about adding potentially grand opening packages and selling grand openings in a box. And and having vendors to do that. Constantly renegotiating with our mass purchasing power to take advantage fully of that and always bringing benefit to the franchisee, which ultimately brings benefit to the end consumer. So it's constantly digging in and seeing where we can improve, but ultimately it comes to growth. Once we grow as a franchise, nothing's going to hold us back.
Yeah, and you touched on it a little bit there, but talked about bringing in the right type of franchise owners. So who is that perfect prospective franchise owner for Fully Promoted? Who are you looking for?
I've been thinking about this for the last 2 months here as I've talked to other franchisees who are successful and calling all of our franchisees and seeing what their mindset, their personality is. And it's kind of hard to narrow it down. We'd like someone to be sales focused, but at the end of the day, hiring your weaknesses is a great strategy. For example, I was just talking to a franchisee who's in the top 10 in our system who couldn't be less focused on sales. But the good thing is he has someone on staff who is very focused on sales. And so really at the end of the day, what I want as a franchisee is someone who's going to follow the steps, is going to work it full time, is going to pay attention to a corporate and listen to the guidance, but ultimately an entrepreneur, someone who's going to run their own business and work on the business, not in the business. I don't want someone running the machines or taking everything themselves. I want them to hire people and ultimately put the pieces in place to grow the business. And so if someone's looking for a hobby or something to do on the weekends, or they want to buy their own embroidery machine to embroider their own shirts or press their own shirts, that's not who we're looking for. We're looking for someone who's going to grow a business.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that I've always loved about Fully Promoted is that it is such a system brand. Yep. And people that follow the system for this brand see extreme success. And
agreed.
When you get both, an extremely talented individual, whether, that's business development focused, operations, and you get someone that's following the system the right way, that combination is perfect for something like Fully Promoted.
Couldn't agree more.
And like you said, they don't have to be focused on sales. As long as they have that sales covered by someone, they can be extremely successful in this brand.
Agreed.
And what's next for Fully Promoted? What's coming next? What's anything cool that you can share with us?
Well, Austin, I think we have a lot of different things that are going to be released here in the next couple of months, specifically something called FP Connect, Fully Promoted Connect, which is going to link together our end-facing consumer shopping website to also our corporate website, so that will make it much more customizable for our franchisees to plug in different orders and pricing, and they can send their clients to order directly online on their specific website. Right now it's a little generalized, and we want to make it more customizable, more focused on the franchisee and their customers. It's also going to work as a great CRM for our sales process. And so we're going to be able to plug in customers and be able to track where they are in our sales process and ultimately keep that relationship managed a little bit cleaner now, having that all together on our dashboard. Other things, we have our convention coming up in July that I'm extremely excited about. It's my first convention as Fully Promoted president. Ray, our father, is going to be speaking at that convention. And we're also going to be announcing just a couple of more exciting events in the future that I don't really want to get too much into the details here on here. That's as fine. Well. But overall, the biggest thing that I'm super excited about is 505. And what I mean by that is we're going to have 500 locations in 5 years. And that's our goal, is in 5 years to be at 500 locations. And with the right mindset and the right team in place and the right support and backbone that we have in place already, we know we can achieve that. And so that's the most exciting thing of what's next for Fully Promoted.
That's awesome. 505.
505, yes.
That's great. That's great. Anything else you want to share with the listeners today?
No, thank you so much. Awesome chatting.
Is there where can everybody find you if they want to connect with you?
Oh, Andrew Titus on LinkedIn. Look me up, Andrew Titus, president of Fully Promoted. Feel free to reach out to me anytime.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Thanks so much.